The Canadian Post Office has assigned a postal code of HO to the North Pole, where anyone can send a letter to Santa Claus. Every year, more than 1 million letters are addressed to Santa Claus, each of which are answered in the same language they were written in. The first ever diamonds were found in India in the 4th century BC. The next country it was discovered in was Brazil in 1725. Hitler was Time's Man of the Year in 1938. As a child, Muhammad Ali was refused an autograph from his boxing idol Sugar Ray Robinson. When Ali became a prize fighter, he vowed to never deny an autograph request, which he honored throughout his entire career. Brass doorknobs automatically disinfect themselves in 8 hours, which is known as the oligodynamic effect. The largest living creature on Earth is the Great Barrier Reef, which measures at 1,200 miles 200 km long. The stickers that you find on fruit are actually made of edible paper, and the glue used to stick them on is actually food grade, so even if you eat one, you'll be completely fine. Journalist Sarah Bongiorni and her family attempted to live without Chinese-made goods for an entire year and found it almost impossible. They documented their experience in a book called Year Without Made in China. A man in Wisconsin took a photo containing 3 albino deer in the woods. The chances of this happening is 1 in 79 billion. Flamingos are not born pink and eventually turn this color from their diet of brine, shrimp, and blue-green algae. The loneliest animal in the world is a male whale in the North Pacific which can't find a mate due to the way it communicates. The whale's frequency is on another level and can't be heard by other whales. If the sun was scaled down to the size of a cell, the Milky Way would be the size of the United States. There's a flower located in Central and South America that looks like hooker's lips that are named hooker's lips. The clothing store H&M stands for Hens and Moritz. 99.8% of Cubans can read and write, making it one of the most literate countries in the world. The average lifespan of a redwood tree is 500 to 700 years old, while some coast redwoods have been known to live to over 2,000 years. They can grow to over 360 feet in height, 109 meters. In the UK, people that reach their 100th birthday or their 60th wedding anniversary are sent a personalized card from the Queen. The Shangri-La Hotel in China captured a record for the largest ball pit ever created, measuring 82 by 41 feet 25 by 12.6 meters and contained over 1 million balls. There are fewer than 50 of the original Apple I computers in existence, with some of them selling for over $50,000. The cheapest gas prices in the world belong to Venezuela at just over a penny a liter. There's a religion called Christian atheism, where practitioners believe in essentially the same things as traditional Christians, except that the Bible is completely metaphorical and that God is an allegory for human morality rather than a real being. There used to be sheep that grazed in Central Park up until 1934. They were moved during the Great Depression as it was feared they'd be eaten. At the 1912 Olympics, a Japanese marathon runner named Shizo Kanakori quit and went home without telling official, and was considered a missing person in Sweden for 50 years. In 1966, he was invited to complete the marathon, finishing with a total time of 50 for years, 8 months, 6 days and 5 hours. Ramon Artigavesia once survived a sinking ship in 1871. He was so scared from this experience, he didn't get on another ship till 41 years later. Unfortunately for him, that ship was Titanic. The Nasir al-Mulk Mosque in Iran is known for its incredible stained glass windows. When the morning sunlight shines through the windows, the interior of the mosque reflects the windows like a kaleidoscope. In 1922, Charles Osborne got a case of the hiccups that lasted until 1990. He was hiccuping 40 times a minute for 68 years, and possibly the weirdest thing is that when it stopped for unknown reasons. Astoundingly, the human brain, the universe, and the internet all have similar network patterns and the same growth dynamics. Bob Marley's wife Rita was shot in the head during his attempted assassination. However, she had dreadlocks so thick, they saved her life. In 2001, Dee attempted to ban glow sticks from parties by labeling them as drug paraphernalia. It takes 3 years of higher education to become a police officer in Norway. The training takes place at a university college, and each graduate gets a bachelor's degree in police studies. The familiar Valentine logo at the beginning and ending of I Love Lucy wasn't added until the show went into syndication. The show was originally sponsored by Philip Morris and began with Lucy and Ricky dancing around a huge pack of cigarettes. Before the 20th century, the death of the Pope used to be confirmed by striking him in the head with a silver hammer. New York City's Flatiron Building used to cause enough downdrafts to lift the skirts of women passing by, giving a daring view of their ankles and legs. The phenomenon was notorious and resulted in groups of young men regularly gathering on 23rd Street to watch. In 1994, a FedEx jet McDonnell Douglas DC-10 suffered a hijacking attempt by a disgruntled employee who was armed with multiple melee weapons. The flight crew, in spite of receiving multiple hammer blows, performed extreme aerial maneuvers with the massive aircraft, at times flying upside down, with the intent of keeping the hijacker off balance. The flight crew eventually succeeded in restraining the hijacker. In ancient Egypt, any books found in ships coming into port would be brought immediately to the Library of Alexandria and be copied. The original would be kept in the library and the copy given back to the owner. IKEA is registered as a non-profit organization dedicated to furthering the advancement of interior design. This lets them pay a fraction of taxes they otherwise would. The owners make money by licensing the IKEA trademark to the non-profit side. One American consumes the same amount of resources as 30 Kenyans per year. Feeders of lice was a job in Nazi-occupied Poland, where individuals were wrapped with lice cages to serve as blood farms and food for disease-carrying lice. These cages were used to develop typhus vaccines. There is a fake village in Netherlands with fake shops and restaurants that are actually a care home for elderly with dementia. The record for the longest marathon run is held by Shizo Konakori with a time of 50 years, 8 months, 6 days, 5 hours, 32 minutes and 20.379 seconds. During the 1912 Olympics, he quit midway through a marathon race and went home to Japan without notifying the officials. He was considered a missing person in Sweden for over 50 years. In 1966, he was invited to complete the marathon. In 4 out of 10 of the UK's largest airports, it's cheaper to park a light aircraft for 24 hours than to park your car. There is a metal band called Hatebeak whose lead singer is an African grey parrot. Musician and singer B.B. King saved his guitar from a burning building caused by a fight between two men. The men were fighting over a lady named Lucille, and B.B. King named his guitar after her as a reminder to never fight over a woman or run into burning buildings. LSD cured a Holocaust survivor of Auschwitz's PTSD and allowed him to sleep for the first time in 30 years without nightmares. The purchase of Alaska from Russia by the U.S. was originally mocked by U.S. citizens, who called it Andrew Johnson's Polar Bear Garden. There is a clock being built inside of a mountain that is designed to tick for 10,000 years and play a unique melody that never repeats itself. The cardboard box was inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame in 2005. There has only ever been one successful shoot-down of an F-117, a stealth plane, in 1999 during the NATO bombing of former Yugoslavia. The pilot ejected safely. Since then, the U.S. pilot and Serb that shot him down have become good friends. When Winston Churchill was warned by the German foreign minister that if we were to occur, the Italians would be on the German side, he responded, "That's only fair, we had them last time." In 1881, a woman got away with murdering a man who broke off their engagement by using the hysteria defense. That is, a doctor told the jury that any virtuous woman, when deprived of her virtue, would go mad. Undoubtedly, the jury acquitted her in 20 minutes. The National Institutes of Health was established in 1887. A 12 ounces can of Jolt Cola has 71 milligrams of caffeine. A cup of coffee has 60150 mg of caffeine. Birds are insensitive to the effects of hot peppers because they do not have receptors for the chemical capsaicin that makes hot peppers hot. The cauda equina is the name for the collection of spinal nerves at the lower end of the spinal cord. The term cauda equina comes from the Latin words meaning tail of a horse. The vagus nerve, important for controlling the functions of many internal organs, gets its name from the Latin word meaning wandering.